Hi, everybody. Today is Wednesday, May the 27th of 2020, and welcome to our Rudy Psychic Meetup. How you doing, Rudy?
Doing great. Things are getting back to normal here in Arizona. We're going out in public again, and it's just getting hot though. So now it's time to stay inside. But we got a good agenda for tonight. Depending on the time, we'll see if we get to Sylvia Brown's predictions. There's about 10 more we have left in the list, and then we'll talk about another topic of manifesting versus trying to make deals with the other side. Any good readings this week?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Always, it's just getting crazier and crazier. I would definitely say that the vibrations are lifting on the planet.
Well, Sam, we don't hit, we I figure we'll go into one topic. We only have 18 questions. So do you want to finish up with the Sylvia Brown predictions or you want to talk about manifesting and bargaining? I'll let you choose.
Let's talk about manifesting and bargaining.
Okay. So this is a topic inspired by Deep Thoughts by Santino. He he actually brought this up. I think he wrote something in the rooms probably back in October. But it's something, I've been thinking about in all of us here in your group probably at some point or another, if not, even maybe still today, you think about if we're on the edge of this crypto fortune and we're gonna gain wealth, do we have to somehow agree that we need to share it or help others? And we almost end up, I think we're always asking in a way that you're almost setting a bargain with universe, like, okay, if you give me this, then I'll make sure I do this, I promise. And I'm always, it's hard to get out of that because even in the spiritual general room, there, the people were talking about, it's okay to ask and actually use your gifts sometimes to help yourself. As you should help others, but it's okay to do things for yourself. It's okay to have those kinds of things. And in fact, you've said before that, you're here to make sure that we don't squander this on a bunch of deadbeats that will mooch all our money away, right? After we have it. But this mentality, I don't know if it's Western upbringing that feels like, share, help others. It's ingrained to us since we're children. But I guess I'll ask, whether we do it with praying or trying to manifest or even like in a group meditation, does this bargaining with the universe even work? Or is this just something that we're trying to do to cope with the way to ask for something for ourselves?
Yeah, it's kind of cute actually when people are bargaining because it's almost like they think that they can, you know, and they can't bargain.
It's like, Mom, can I have 3 cookies so I can share one with my brother?
Yeah.
Wait, spirit, yeah, universe knows really what you're after. And so I guess, you think about it, it's okay to ask things or want things for yourself, I would guess. Really, it's not being selfish necessarily, is it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think
Okay.
it's selfish to ask for things for yourself. I think that mediums are put in a different category as far as using their gift, for themselves versus using it for others. But as far as every everyday people, if you're just asking for a good life for your family, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that it's when you get into the bargaining for material goods with
Yeah.
the spiritual realm. I think that's kind of a darker path you don't want to go down.
Well, that was the other thing is because that can lead to that bargaining and getting involved with familiar spirits of agreeing to do things in exchange for gifts. And really, it's being honest about what you want. Do I want the cabin in the woods or do I want the ability to go relax in the quiet of the forest? And, that's really what you're after. It's the material things that enable you to do it. And I think so often we get focused on the material things. But I do want to read Santino's passage and just, have it's, I love his philosophical take on things. But he writes, the issue of conducting, whether it's a collective exercise to move crypto, has continued to come up. And this was towards the end of last year, where we talked about doing like a group meditation. Intentions are good, but these kinds of exercises can lead to unintended consequences and suffering. Consider the following: when we participate in spiritual exercises where we send love and light to the universe in exchange for a rising crypto market, we're attempting to bargain. We send universe love and it fills our bank accounts. Extremes such as these are conditional, and the universe sees through them very quickly. Better to be honest with ourselves with what we're truly trying to achieve with these collective meditations. No tricks or shortcuts, folks. Be with the universe, but ask for nothing, and you will receive everything. Any thoughts on that?
I agree with that. Where I just find that it's the like the mental mindset that comes with it. It's it's not even the same as like wanting health for a family member when you're looking for riches, money through some sort of lottery win, with the cryptocurrencies. And um, somebody said to me something that really rang true in a direct message. They said, sometimes I feel like people are upset because they're not rich fast enough, you know? And so, like, I get why Jared Tate sort of left the cryptocurrency, sphere in disgust because he gets the big picture, that this is about changing the world and a trustless financial system so that we don't end up in the position that we're in right now worldwide with, just teetering on the edge of a depression. A lot of people are going to get hurt. And yeah, that's what I find a lot of the problem is sometimes is that when you're getting into something and then if it's like, if you're not, if you're not getting it fast enough, or it almost seems that um, it takes the joy out of the pursuit, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been interesting since I've been in this group. At the beginning, you're focused on, okay, I got to be rich. I'm going to get all this money. Yeah, I'm going to get a car. All these things you think you're going to get. And then the past, 6 months or so, that stuff seems to be less important because I'm starting to see, okay, what's the path for my wife and I? What are we going to be doing? And that's what you focus on, and it becomes less about the stuff. So it's been interesting. The other part of this topic I want to talk about is our ability to actually command, in terms of whether we ask for stuff or manifest it. Praying Medic is a YouTuber. He puts videos up on QAnon. Puts a lot of threads up there. I enjoy his stuff, but he also has books on divine healing, and he comes with this from a Christianity perspective. But it's interesting because he talks about being able to command an illness or a sickness to go away, and that command word. When I heard that, I'm like, "Ooh, that seems like really aggressive. Is that okay to do?" But it goes back to realizing the power that we have, and we can ask for things, we can manifest things, and it's okay. In some ways, it's our right to do so. And so I don't know about commanding. Do you ever? I don't know. Do you ever command anything? Would you say you use that word, or you just kind of say this is the way it is?
I would say it's more, if, for example, it has more to do with, if you're getting like the negative entities and things like that, that you'll give out the commands,
Okay.
actually command that
Okay.
this be stopped, or, um, that things are taken care of by the people on the other side
Okay.
instead of me getting involved in it, a situation or whatever that was sort of thrown in to cause upheaval and problems and negativity and to take me off of my path and my focus. And I just tell the people on the other side, I just say, take care of it.
Okay.
I don't even want to know anything about it. Just take care of it. And it's magically just taken care of. So yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I was talking with my wife about this, and she's been shut down as well, and she finally said, "Okay, I'm ready to have new clients." And she just kind of puts it out there, and sure enough, she'll get a phone call, and people start finding their way. And she's found just kind of a nice balance where she's not demanding all this money come in. She's like, "Okay, I'm ready," and someone shows up. So I think if you can find that balance, it can be a very powerful thing. Oh, I was going to share a story with folks, I guess, while Sam's away. So my wife does energy work, and she was doing some work on me yesterday. And I know Sean 123 in the room. You've talked about seeing colors. We mentioned that a little bit on the last topic. But I was seeing as she was working on me, she was doing kind of like a chakra clearing and an energy balance. And when she works on me, I'll see color. So if I close my eyes, usually it's kind of a purplish and it's moving or pulsating. Well, yesterday as she was finishing up, I was seeing kind of like a light yellow or green color on one side and a purple color on the other, and then they would almost like instantly transpose like that. And then a couple times they were flipped horizontally. And I was thinking about this last night, and I was thinking, I wonder if that's that yin and yang where that yin and yang comes from, where you see kind of balanced energy just kind of in harmony.
Let's start going through the questions.
Sweet Hope Chicago writes, "Hi, Sam and Rudy. Have you ever just known that you could do something? This fortunate occurrence has happened to me many times. Like at age 61, I just got in the water and swam across the pool. I admired the stained glass at Disneyland and took a class and started making window lamps. I made my own patterns right off. Are some skills from like this or from previous lives? Do skills carry over or do you tap in? Many thanks."
There are some skills who can carry over, and I think that we have that in an example with who was it? Beethoven, who was playing music when he was 2 years old and composing and all of that stuff. Yeah, there. That's definitely that's a definite that you can bring talents with you.
Okay. Even Justin Bieber, he was, he has those young videos of him when he was on YouTube when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even like I remember our dollar mentioning because when he was learning this healing stuff, he felt like he was remembering how to do things. It just kind of came to him. So, yeah, that's interesting that you can take that stuff over. I always think about people that are really mechanical. Some people are, some people aren't. Some people can garden, some people can't. So that's fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, and David said that it was Mozart. That's
Mozart.
I said Beethoven, but it was actually Mozart. That was the genius.
Okay. Cryptomist writes, "Hi, Sam and Rudy. I remember you have mentioned humans do not reincarnate into animals and vice versa. However, do animals reincarnate within their own species or into other species of all the animal realm? Also, will we see our dead pets again on the other side? Thank you so much for all the helpful information that increases our understanding of woo woo."
Wow, isn't that an interesting question? And I can't say for sure that I know the answer because I haven't run across it, and
Okay.
I don't have any information on that. If a horse can reincarnate as a dog, like I know what they mean. But
Yeah, and I want to say I've read stories of people that say, "I know my dog, like a new dog came to me." And I forget if we've talked about this before, where does your family or does your animal help you find another animal that's going to be similar? So yeah, that's a fascinating question. But you have said they can be there on the other side to meet us when we pass over.
oh yeah, and even some animals will come back in future animals, so that if you had a dog that passed away, then they'll come back in another puppy.
Okay.
If they can do that.
Oh, cool. All right. Tanya Oz writes, "Hi, Rudy and Sam. What does the other side say about marijuana use? Why do some have negative side effects? Is it possible that it brings up unresolved issues, or is it more simple than that? Thank you." Maybe it's like, is it okay to use marijuana? Things that are, the actual plants that are just grown on the earth that you're not refining, you know, are those okay to use, I guess?
Well, I think a lot of our medications are from herbs and things like that. So, but it's just like anything. I mean, somebody could take, you know, Tylenol for some extreme pain, but if they're addicted to it, so it all
Okay.
has to do with, it's the same as with alcohol. I mean, I don't think
Mhm.
that there's anything wrong with drinking, but, you know, getting, wasted every day, that's
Okay.
not good for you. Like it's not healthy. And it takes the joy and purpose out of what it is that you're doing when you abuse it. So that's my attitude on that, and I think that's how the people on the other side see it as well. Is that it's the same as like with food. I mean, if it they want us to enjoy ourselves and to enjoy our food. That's a part of being human that you don't get on the other side. You don't get to enjoy food like we do here. And we need it to exist. And I think that's probably part of the enjoyment, especially if you're hungry. Whereas, like on the other side, you don't ever get hungry. So,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. So that's probably a good comparison is that, you can really abuse anything and then it would be a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing all the time.
Yeah, all things in moderation. Just to circle back on Cat Lady's question, or sorry, not Cat Lady, but Crypto missed about the dogs. Mana says, "My understanding is that after the fall of Atlantis, crossovers between humans and other animals were no longer allowed. So maybe that Do you think that that's a rule or something that was stopped? Does that sound right?
No, I think that somebody just made that up. I think,
Okay.
how there's all these, and this is one of the things that kind of shocked me, how people just kind of generally made stuff up. How it's like Atlantis did exist, right? But I think that a lot of the things that people are saying about Atlantis are not true, were never true. Um, like I don't believe that the people in Atlantis were like magical beings or anything different than what we are, for example. But yet I do hear, people talk about that and I'm like, well, who said, right? And, you know, um, yeah. So I did read that from Mana. Thank you, Mana, for posting that, because I hadn't actually heard of that before until Mana brought it up. And as soon as I read it, I got the information that
Okay.
it wasn't, that wasn't correct. It's almost like it's law, right? Humans cannot cross over to animals. Animals can't. And that was just always the way that it was. It wasn't like, oh, all of a sudden it was canceled, right?
Okay.
Because that's how a human mind understands things. And I would have to tell that human mind and say, well, no, it's but you just can't. Well, why can't you? Well, I can't really explain it to you, but you just can't.
Okay.
It's not possible.
Well, cool. I was hoping you would get something when I read that, so that's great. Thanks, Mana. Cat Lady AZ writes, "Hi, Sam and Rudy. What does the other side say about Greg Braden's hypothesis of human origins and evaluation of the books removed from the Bible? Will these books be compiled and reintroduced into the world?" So I looked up Greg Braden real quick because Cat Lady, I wasn't familiar with him, and I think he's one that sounds like basically he advocates that that humans were engineered to some degree based on DNA, and that the supporting books from the Bible that any allude to any of that stuff were basically taken out. So Sam, do you ever think these forbidden books of the Bible? I think they're the apocryphic text. Do you think? I mean, they'll become more well known and studied in the future?
I think that there will be, not just the apocryphy, but also other writings and things that are going to be discovered in our lifetime that are going to bring out these things, so that it shows people more of the truth as to where we are really from, or how we were really created.
Cool. Oh yeah, like I think we talked about in a couple meetups ago, the Library of Alexandria underneath the Sphinx that maybe
Yeah.
will be discovered. Awesome. Okay. Um, Tanya, okay. Next one, Bitcat writes, "Hi, Sam and Rudy. There have been many times when money has been very tight, but things have always worked themselves out. I've come to feel the universe is looking after me or protecting me in some way. Can you help me define what I am referring to when I say the universe is looking after me? Is it my spirit guides, for example?"
Yeah. If you're a medium, then you have spirit guides, but everybody has, their tribe, right? Their tribe looking out for them. And there's also, the things that are supposed to happen. I know when COVID-19 came out and people were being furloughed and this and that, you know, a lot of I had a few people say to me, well, is there anything that you can do? And maybe their membership can be free. And I said, well, actually, the way that it works out is that the people on the other side make sure that the individual's needs are met so that they can, do these things. I just find that, if you're supposed to do something, if you're supposed to be somewhere, then it'll happen. Even sometimes at the last minute, they might even do it so that you can, get a little wink from the universe. Because I mean, that's even more cool when you think about it. If you think, oh wow, they want me to do this and this so badly that, they're just making it happen.
Yeah. And Bitcat, I would say I resonate with that too, because I've never had a career plan. I've never really planned things out that well. I just had opportunities that present themselves, and I'm like, okay, and I go along with it, and everything seems to work out. And I think you can be comfortable doing that. Your life will just kind of unfold for you like it's supposed to, without too much effort. So, Raymond writes, "Does light have volume? If light fills up the darkness of space, does it occupy anything? What happens to the darkness? Thanks."
Well, it's not one of those things that's, tangible. So it's not that anything really happens to the darkness. It just gets replaced. And it's just one of those things that, Um, I can't even think of a good example as far as dark and light go, because it's not like, oh, it's here, oh, it's gone. Oh,
Right.
it's here, oh, it's gone. Oh, where did it go? Right? It's not like that at all. It's dark and light. It's yeah, that's
It
a
makes me
really that's make my
think
mind bending tonight.
of high school physics class where you showed light has properties of waves, but of other. It was I can't remember it now, but yeah, it's not that simple. All right. Al writes, what do you think of the simulation theory that our universe is a simulation in which we perceive all of our experiences to be real and that we are not living in the base reality, just like the movie The Matrix? What got me thinking about this was the universe seems to have many mysteries that even our modern society can't explain. For example, how consciousness works and how human soul leaves the body after its death. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Thank you.
So about the Matrix and what it's like. This is the true reality, the one that we're in right now. I don't really believe any of that other stuff. That there's multiple universes all happening at the same time. As far as our reality, I do believe that there's other realms.
Yeah, I like the Matrix as a maybe an I don't know if analogy or allegory is the right word of how you can elevate your consciousness to another level and realize how the world around you is working as opposed to being caught up in the day to day. But yeah, I think I don't know. I don't wrap my head around life as a computer program, so I couldn't concept get that concept. Bill D writes, "Hi Sam, how did people come to populate Earth? How long ago did this occur? Thanks."
Well, I couldn't say for sure how long ago it occurred, but I believe the story that was told about the Anunnaki coming from another realm and that using us for slaves to mine gold and things that they needed for their existence. Um, so in order to get like good slaves, they just took I guess there was already hominids
Hmm.
here on the planet, and they just messed with the DNA, and then came humans, which were, smart enough to be able to do this work that was needed to be done.
And Sam, I can't remember if I read this or heard this, if it was Cliff High or someone, but they mentioned that the hominid form, arms, legs, is a very universal body form throughout the universe. Do you think that that's true, or that other, this human shape exist elsewhere?
Yeah, I do. I
So
do in different forms, like they don't, it's like the arms, legs, torso, a head, they're not human, but
yeah,
it's, like the only alien I've ever seen was in my mind's eye, and it had, arms, legs, torso.
okay,
I guess you could call it a head.
yeah, that's quite. I find it quite functional, so that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
William Penn writes, you mentioned in a reading in which Jesus showed up and said he didn't mean for it to become a religion. It may not have been his plan, but was it God's plan?
Well, I guess because it happened, and it was all part of the plan because it happened. I think that when Jesus says, that he didn't mean for it to become a religion, he means more of like the negative stuff and the stuff that was added on and just made up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff just added on and made up to it as well, and it was turned into a business.
Yeah, if Jesus was a set of master, now I'm just thinking here, and his ideas were so pure and they resonated with so many people, it grew naturally. But yeah, then you're right. Then people can usurp a movement and add their own stuff onto it and use it for control. So, and then Pamela Ingrid writes, I often read about life reviews upon one's death. What about the concept of dark night of the soul when some of the life reviews occur before death? Would we still have to review the same thing at the time of death? Once is enough for me.
I think that it's just the one time that you go through it. I mean, certainly, when somebody is knows that they're going to die or pass over, they have regret with what they did and stuff. But there's no, just like there's no getting out of this world alive. There's no, you know, finishing your crossover without your end of life review.
Yeah, and it sounds like Pamela was talking about that. What they say is all your life flashes before your eyes, but right before you die. Is that true? Can that happen to people, Sam, or is that are people experiencing the end of life review, or is it just something else that gets triggered from hormones and a memory dump before you die?
Yeah, it's not the end of life review, but it's, it's just something that naturally happens when
Okay.
you feel like you're gonna pass away, and it's just something that your brain does. That's a brain thing.
Interesting. Okay. Last one from William Penn. When you visit the other side, have you ever seen buildings? Sylvia Brown makes mention of at least three buildings. William Penn.
Yes, it's something. There are things that look like buildings over there, but that's pretty deep in.
Okay.
That's deep in meaning, you know, you've done your end of life review, and now you're headed to like the place where we all go, and but it's buildings, but it's not buildings like it is here.
Okay.
It's, you see them in their buildings, but then you're in them, and there's no need to like take an elevator or anything like that.
More like just a place that, yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. Thanks, Sam. We will talk again in a couple weeks.